What's up, ladies and gentleheads? As I got something about 300 hours played on Hitman and also completed 100% achievements, I decided to make a tier list of all 22 maps from the whole Hitman trilogy as a kind of summary, which maps are good and which are not. I'll rate these maps based on the map visuals, gameplay, Freelancer gameplay, and map lore. So sit back, let's get to it. ICA Facility.
I think they called me 47.
That's not a name.
So make it one.
We're introduced to the story with a cutscene in which we find out we're going to play as Agent 47. Alongside Diana Burnwood, and as a member of the ICA, takes on various contracts to eliminate targets around the world. The map acts as a tutorial for the original 2016 Hitman, but unlike, say, HAWKE'S Bay, this map has been added to the entire trilogy. The map is divided into two parts, a tutorial on a yacht, a tutorial on a military station. The targets aren't really interesting, and also there isn't much space for creativity due to the size and the big limitations ICA Facility has. Still, you get plenty of space to learn how the whole game works. As a tutorial, the map was handled better than well, which is why ICA Facility gets a B. Santa Fortuna. Heavy jungle, with big plantations and mountain villages. In the shelter of nature, there are fortified settlements of drug lords that we must eliminate. The targets are superbly interconnected, and it feels like we are eliminating a drug family. Jorge Franco is perhaps the most memorable character in the Hitman trilogy for me. The hunched-over grandpa surrounded by plantations is someone I will remember for the rest of my life, as much as the hippo who helped me with this bad boy. The map is beautiful. The setting in the Colombian jungle with the poor village is very well done. Everything is beautifully accessible. Even here, it's not so much a challenge to cross this entire map in a suit without being noticed. Hitman 2, for me, is a game where the developers weren't afraid to create sometimes overly large maps. Santa Fortuna is one of them. Although it makes sense according to the three targets, the map is perhaps too big, and some parts, such as the enormous underground, the water village, the construction site, and much of the jungle feel empty and unused. However, the simplicity of this map keeps me coming back to it, and even after finishing the Platinum Trophy, I am still looking for new ways to play this map. It's also good for Freelancer, as the targets are mostly separate from other NPCs, or not difficult to lure away at all. Mumbai. To be honest, I don't really like yellow maps set in narrow alleys with lots of people, which are creating very chaotic game experience for me. More than once I managed to get lost in this map, as it is one of the huge maps, and the number of alleys is also really big. Despite how big the train overpass that Vanya Shah and Dawood Rangan's sprawling house is, it feels unnecessarily cramped, and there isn't much space for enjoyable gameplay. The visual of the map isn't anything special either. The only thing that makes this map different is the third target that we can't see on the map and have to figure out who it is by various clues. Although there are factors by which we can identify Maelstrom by, for example, faster movement. But even though I find this feature very unnecessary, and it's just destroying smooth gameplay or direct execution/speedrun challenges. If you want to choose this map for your Freelancer contract, I don't recommend it. Due to the high NPC saturation, it is very difficult to plan target elimination here so that everything goes smoothly. Mumbai belongs in C in my opinion, and that's only because there are worse maps. And I also love this double kill where you kill Vanya Shah and Maelstrom using a train, on which you can also leave the level.
My word, that was an impressive display. Vanya Shah, Wazir Kale, aka the Maelstrom, confirmed kill. Mission completed. Time to find an exit.
Paris. Agent 47 travels to Paris to eliminate two key figures involved in the criminal underworld. Again, targets are nothing special, not as memorable as Jorge Franco from Santa Fortuna or Ezra Berg in Colorado, for example. The look of this whole map is fantastic. Great atmosphere. The whole hotel feels full and diverse. I'm not a fan of maps forced mostly in one enclosed building, but Paris does it well, unlike maps like Dartmoor or Bangkok. Even though most of the level is happening inside the Paris hotel, there is a good balance of time spent inside the building and around the hotel, as there are plenty of opportunities to infiltrate locations from the outside. Although the difficulty of the original level is very easy, in the Freelancer mod, you should definitely never choose this map. Whittleton Creek. This map is absolute mid. The map is beautiful, even though all the houses are exactly the same, it still looks interesting. One has a party going on, one is under construction, one is for sale. The map itself is very small, but the fact that we can't move between the flats and have to go around the map every time we move makes it bigger. I did find this annoying though, as well as finding the 3 clues you have to find on each mission pass, meaning that if you want to complete the Silent Assassin Suit only mission, you also have to get a letter from Zoe Washington, find an old newspaper confirming Constant's meeting, and dig up a cigar box in the garden to do, and more than once I managed to mess up the whole run while searching for clues. Fortunately, killing both targets is not difficult at all. For a freelancer, this map is also an absolute mid. It's simple, but at the same time it can be quite troublemaker.
The recorder is perfectly capable of playing the tape as well. Fine.
Sapienza. Next up is an Italian picturesque village, and this map can be described by only 3 words. It is perfect! Sapienza is, in my opinion, one of the best maps in the whole Hitman trilogy. Beautiful setting, great variety, amazing underground complex, in which we have the fascinating deadly Cerberus virus added to the 2 objectives. Although the targets themselves are not very interesting, in conjunction with this virus, it makes more than good sense why we should eliminate these villains. In terms of gameplay, the map is simple, but there are many different and especially creative ways to eliminate these targets. Sapienza also proved to be one of the best options for the final showdown in the Freelancer mod, thanks to the main square tower, from which you can see almost the entire map. However, I would still opt for other maps for normal contracts. Haven Island. Oh boy, this map really bothered me. It's fresh, it's pretty, but that's everything good about this map. Seriously, there is nothing good about this map anymore. It's horrible gameplay-wise, whether it's the targets that are impossible to distract. And when you finally do, more than once you get spotted by some random guard from the other side of the map. Or if it's the mansion area, which feels like fucking Area 51, which no one is allowed to enter under any circumstances. So if you're planning any suit-only action, I can recommend that you leave at least 10 slots free for saving and 1 brand new keyboard. The fact that this map feels unfinished, even though it's part of the paid DLC, is just a joke from the IO developers in my opinion. There aren't many creative ways to kill targets either. You can just eliminate Stephen Bradley with a magic flying briefcase that can track people. I'm only giving this map C because at Mastery LVL 10 you unlock Seeker, which is one of the most OP items in whole Hitman trilogy. Bangkok. Bangkok is without a doubt the worst map in the whole game. If there was any way to rank it as something worse than D, Bangkok would be the top map here. I even liked the mission in Romania more. Basic mission, horrible. Freelancer experience, even more horrible. 2 targets, Jordan Cross, the singer who threw a young actress out of his apartment, and lawyer Ken Morgan, who I find to be the most boring and annoying character in the world. He isn't special in any way, and making a silent assassin kill on him is only possible by dropping a chandelier. Seriously, if you decide to put poison in his food, he'll always find his way to the nearest or farthest trash can, at which it's impossible to eliminate him undetected anyway. The map itself is horribly designed. It is divided into 2 wings, which are extremely complicated to cross between and even harder to climb. As at each entrance, there are at least 2 guards surrounded by another million NPCs. So you are forced to take the same route over and over again every time you pass through the map. The incredible overcrowding of cameras and the camera room, which is very difficult to get into, doesn't add much to this map, as well as the fact that you have to open almost every door with a keycard, which you can freely find in the basement. But you're not able to make any faster playthrough without disposable scrambler. Unfortunately, this item can only be unlocked by the mastery in Colorado.
Check it out.
CHONGPING. It's dark, it's China, it's fun. Targets are quite far away from each other, but fortunately there are more interesting ways to reach them. You also have the opportunity to lure them out of their areas and make this mission significantly easier. Unfortunately, most of the locations feel dead, and the whole map loses the charm it could have used.
Now go get Imogen Royce and we can get to the core. Good. Let's both have this down.
Dartmoor. Do you remember how I said I'm not a big fan of maps that are happening in an enclosed space? Well, Dartmoor is exactly one of them. Despite how big the area around the house is, most of the time you still don't fully use it, and it feels more like a kind of backdrop that's just on the map to be there. The main curiosity about this map is that as Agent 47, you can become a detective and solve a murder by finding clues and then interviewing witnesses. It's an interesting concept indeed, however. After a 30-minute investigation where I found out that it could be sped up, I was tempted to never return to this map. The map is otherwise quite easily accessible from the outside, using pipes to climb up, but then it creates a certain repetitiveness, as it is probably the only possible way to safely get into the house in suit only. I have very mixed feelings about this map. I love the atmosphere of Old England, but at the same time I hate how limited the map is. I think C is adequate. Berlin. When I'm writing notes for all these maps, there is still one skeleton in the closet, and that is Berlin. Well, not this Berlin, but actually this Berlin. I still don't know where to put this map. Everyone likes it very much, but for me, it wasn't that enjoyable. I mean, it's a giant map with absolute freedom. You have 10 targets to choose from, but you only have to eliminate 5 of them, which means if one of them is too hard for you, just skip him and eliminate someone else. I love the way the map works. 10 targets dressed in basic guard clothing trying to find Agent 47 in the underground of a Berlin techno club. The cutscene with Mr. Grey that precedes this mission is fantastic. It's exciting, with an ending that shocked even me, despite Hitman never tried to be a game with a strong story. I think it's somewhere between an A and a C. I'm leaning more towards a very high C tier because of the forest, which unfortunately isn't used in any way despite how beautiful and mystical a place it is. New York. Let's look at Haven Island's big brother. New York is also a map you have to pay extra for in Hitman 2. But now it's really worth it. New York is fantastic. Despite how little overlay the map has, every single room feels full and hides a lot of interesting collectibles. Objectives are simple. You have to eliminate Bank Director and rob the vault. Getting into the vault can be difficult, but overall the map is very fun, and the mission stories are one of the best, so you won't stop enjoying the frequent level replays. New York is a definite S for me. It also works great as a map in Freelancer mod. However, I recommend bringing a disposable scrambler with you, otherwise your visit in New York can get a bit messy. Dubai. I really like this map, a golden flashy skyscraper that beautifully showed us how big Hitman 3's potential is. The fact that they didn't use it much is another matter. Although I didn't like Dubai with its overlay, it's still a pretty solid map. The use of rooms doesn't feel unnecessary and empty. The mission stories aren't very interesting, but the ability to sabotage targets' parachutes and then watch them jump to their death was great. The map is not difficult for new players. Unfortunately, I felt a strong focus on the same route over and over again every run I played. So Dubai belongs in the higher C tier. Marrakesh. Another yellow map with alleys fully crowded with NPCs. The map contains nothing special, 2 targets that are extremely far from each other. Getting from one to the other is very slow, and there is basically just 2 ways. The map has a lot of unnecessary buildings and places that just act as a filler. The biggest benefit of this map is the escalation, in which you can get a Sega Ghost after completing, which is probably the best sniper rifle in the whole Hitman trilogy. Otherwise, Marrakesh doesn't offer anything innovative, so it belongs in D. Isle of Scale. Dark atmosphere of old castle is fantastic. Although I'm not a fan of the number of guards on the map, which is really huge, like in every room you will find at least 4 guards, so playing this map in suit only, or even for the new players, can be a bit more challenging. On the other hand, I think the map beautifully balances between difficulty and accessibility around the map. I must also not forget about the silenced pistol in the underground, which you can dig up in Freelancer and keep it. The 2 targets, Sisters Washington and Constant, who we must let live, then creates a great background for the Hitman 3 storyline. This map is going to be Miami is just a perfect, tons of way to move, tons of places to go. Targets are interesting. I really like the idea of the racing track. Whole map feels free and offers such an excellent experience to the player. Even though targets are interesting, they could have been done a little better. The only way to get Sierra Knox out of the race is to cancel it and to schedule any elimination you have to endure a long wait. Robert is basically all the time in the mansion area or at the pier, so it feels like each target has a section of the map reserved just for themselves. Otherwise, the map is well balanced, although it can be kinda difficult for a freelancer. Hokkaido. What can I say about this map? I don't like it. The map is very small. Almost every door is closed, and to unlock them, you need either a proper disguise or a key hacker, which really stops you enjoying it after repeating the mission over and over again. The fact that you have to get Mastery level 20 first to use your own loadout is a bit overkill and requires a big grind. I like the Japanese atmosphere. The targets are all right. Especially Yuki Yamazaki is sexy, and Eric Sodas is just a very interesting target. He doesn't run anywhere, and you have a lot of creative ways to eliminate him. The map isn't difficult at all, and can be played quite easily in a few seconds, but it also can be the most hell map you've ever seen. My emotions are very mixed. I'd put Hokkaido in the very high C tier. Mendoza. The map is incredibly fresh. It looks nice. Mission stories and targets are great. A combination of Diana as a character that tries to help you kill these targets is pretty cool. It also has the best badass mission story when you have to save Diana from Mr. Yates in the guard disguise. For me, it's the best Hitman 3 map. It's not that hard. And for Freelancer Final Showdown, it's just perfect. To be honest, I am choosing this map for every Final Showdown because of the sniper alert strat. Mendoza is going to be Hawke's Bay. I don't know what to say about this map. It is simply not a full-fledged map. Mastery level 5, extremely small space. Elimination variability depends on how long you wait for the target to move. I don't hate it, but it's just a dead map. Very low C tier. Colorado, the nightmare of all Hitman players. The Colorado is, together with Bangkok, the worst map in history. Visually uninteresting map, it does not offer any freedom of movement. The whole map is basically a trespassing area, and you will find countless guards at every turn. The map is divided into 4 parts, and in order to move in these parts, you always need one specific disguise. In Freelancer mode, avoid this map by a large arc. Without debate, Colorado belongs in D. Ambrose Island. I probably have the least experience with this map. I never decided to play this map properly, as evidenced by the fact that I haven't even completed Mastery level 20 yet here. Although Ambrose Island is not a bad map, the lack of mission stories and such a significant limitation to learn and properly discover this map discourages me from playing this map. But for a freelancer, this is one of the maps I always like to choose due to its easy accessibility, very balanced disguises, and beautiful visibility across the map. The ruins do look a bit empty, but on the other hand, the cave where the satellite control unit is located appeals to me as it reminds me of Virus from Sapienza. Thanks to the easy access, it doesn't even feel like an annoying thing you have to do, as it's relatively easy to destroy. Ambrose Island goes to B. And the last map on this list, the Romania. There are only two kinds of people, those who say Romania is a bad map, and those who say it is the worst. I belong to the first section. This map is just a long hallway, with nothing special but insane number of guards. Despite the fact that this map is gameplay's shit, I like it because of the story and how they ended the whole Hitman trilogy. Unfortunately, I think more could have been done with it, and maybe added some buildings around or the ability to explore the tunnels while the train had some stops. Romania belongs in C. So that was my tier list of all 22 Hitman maps. I didn't count here map modifications or sniper assassin maps, because there is not much to say about them, and mostly they are just reskinned base maps. But in case of big interest, I'm able to create a tier list for all DLC and map versions too. There you can see the whole tier list, and in the caption you can find detailed numerical rating of each map. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next video.